Yes, yes. Yes, like I said earlier on, I'm sure you're all very surprised to see a very different face. Everybody's used to seeing Ziggy. Ziggy, our famous host for Wow Wednesday. Unfortunately, Ziggy is not here today. She's airborne. So this is Nkonye Duru standing in for her. Don't worry, I'll try to fill in those very big shoes. But aside that, we have somebody really, really wonderful who is going to take care of every single thing for us. And this is going to be an amazing, amazing day. Guys, today, as you have seen, that has been published, we're going to talk about bone wealth. This is so amazing. You know, everybody keeps talking about the different organs in the system, the different tissues in the system, but do you know that the bone is also an organ? Do you know that the bone can be referred to as a tissue? Today we have somebody very, 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 very famous. You know, one thing is so interesting about her. I found out that she has 5 children and she's a medical doctor. This is so interesting. For me, it's as a woman, first of all, it's very, very difficult for you to cope with your career and your family life, and more difficult when you have up to 5 children. In fact, let me say 6 because your husband is number one child. So today, we will be introducing a very amicable, amazing lady. She's actually a Ugandan, but she lives in Finland, a medical doctor, and she specializes in, I'm going to say one very big word right now, clinical epidemiology and biostatics. This is something that when I saw, I said, wow. You know, most times people just say, oh, medical doctor, oh, doctor, doctor, doctor. But this lady has gone even further to do something that is really amazing. And today, she's going to pieces for us what it is to take care of our bone, what it is to be who we are. Because you know what? Your bone actually frames all this whole mass that we are all seeing. So I'll welcome to you an amazing lady, really, really amazing lady, medical doctor, all the way from Finland, even though she's a Ugandan, Dr. Catherine Nansamba. I hope I pronounced your surname properly. That's nice. So welcome, doctor. So nice to have you in the house
Thank
this
you.
evening. And like I said earlier on, she's a medical doctor with very, very good top grades on it. And she's a mother of 5. So everyone, please go on the chat group, show some love, welcome our special medical doctor who is here to blow our minds on how to take care of that frame that takes care of this big mass. So welcome, Dr. Catherine.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you really, really sound like Ziggy. So if you're just behind the curtains,
Yes, you know,
nobody
a
will
lot of
know
people
that
say
it
that a
isn't
lot, that
Ziggy.
I do sound like her.
You do sound like her. And you said, unfortunately, it is fortunately because now you get to fit in her shoes for tonight. And we're glad to have you here.
Thank you. So welcome, Dr. Kati.
Thank
Everybody
you.
show her some love. Show her some love. She's going to blow our minds and take us through that which will make us well and good.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. It's good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name again is Katherine Nansamba. I am married. I am Ugandan. I'm a mother of 5. I'm 45 years young. My eldest is 19 and my youngest is 8.5. I'm reminded about the half, 8.5. I have two girls and 3 boys. So that is me in a nutshell. And I'm currently living in Finland, right in Santa's land. So it's just coming out of winter right now. It's pretty cold, but yeah, that's where we are right now. So today I'm going to talk about bone health, and I am not an orthopedic surgeon, but I know a little bit about bones, and I'm hoping that by the end of my presentation, you'll have come away with a few things for yourself and for your family. So let us get down to it. And let me share my screen just so that I can be guided on what I'm going to talk about. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. Okay. Yes.
So today we are going to talk about bone health, and I usually like to interact with my audience so that I am reminded that I am not alone. So when you look at your bones, you would think, first of all, for me, I would think it's more like a scaffolding around a building, something that is going to help hold your body together. So if you had no bones in your body, you'd just be a lump of jelly right there. But the bones are there for very many, quite a number of functions, not just to make your body stand upright, but also to protect your organs, to get you to move, and many other things. So the bones, the skeleton is made up of all those bones. How many bones do we have as adults? Can you just type it in your chat? I want to see those who remember their biology or their science back in P1. How many bones do we have as adults? Let me see those who remember their science. How many bones do we have? No Google, please don't ask Google. Don't ask Google. Please go and jog your memory. Hey, people, where are you? I only see one answer. Come on, type something. There's 56, 58 of us. So let us know. I need a specific number, Michelle. Not over 200. Yes, it's over 200, but please write something. At least let me see 10 answers before we move forward. How many bones do we have as adults? This is a good one. Not sure. Okay, 220. Okay. Tebogo, you got that right. Eleni, you got that right. 206. We are born as a child, as a baby, you're born with about 300 bones. And by the time you get to adulthood, you have 206, and you have lost so many bones. Yes? No, you haven't lost any. So you're born with about 300 bones. And then at adulthood, you have about 206. And that's because some of the bones in your body, like the bones in your skull, fuse as you grow. And that's why they are reduced from 300 to about 300 to 206. All right. So let us move on to the next slide. 30 is a number I want you to remember when we leave this meeting. 30. What is so magical about 30? What is magical about 30 is one of the important terms you have to remember about bones is what we call bone density or bone mass, okay? And I would like you to think of your bones like a bank. You deposit and then you withdraw. So if you do not deposit, you will have nothing to withdraw. And believe me, at some point you will have to withdraw. So as we progress through life, from infancy to adolescence to early adulthood, whatever we are doing is depositing into our bone structure. So we have to see that before we hit the age of 30, you're doing all the right things to deposit into your bone structure. Because remember that your bones are what are going to support you all through to old age. So if you do not deposit enough, you're going to find problems later. So as you're looking at your children, your adolescents, your young adults, before they hit 30, you have to do all the right things to make sure that their bone health is optimized, their bone development and growth is optimized. So 30, it's usually 25 to 30, but 30 just to give it a round figure. So get it right before you get to 30. So what happens if you're above 30? Then you have to do a little bit extra, even if you're above 30. But if you have any people in your household who are not yet at 30, please pay extra attention on what you need to do to make sure that their bone health is optimized. All right. I want us to just have a few minutes of fun facts, just 2 of them. I want you to know that more than half of your bones, let me minimize this because I don't see my notes, just a minute. More than half of your bones are in your hands and your feet. Remember, I said we have 206 bones in your body, but about 106 of those bones are in your hands and your feet. Can you believe that? You have 54 bones in your hands and you have 26 bones in each of your feet, right? So you see that skeleton, the images of the hands and the feet, you see that they are very small bones, even in the wrists and in the ankle joints. So that makes up all those small bones in your hands and your feet. So those are very important parts of your skeleton. So that's a good fun fact. The second fun fact I want you to know is bone is living tissue. When you look at a bone, it is just because it is hard, it's easy to think that it's a dead tissue. It's just, there's nothing to it really other than just being hard as it is. No, bone is living tissue. And when you cut through bone, you're going to be able to see those arteries and those veins. You're going to find there's a marrow inside. There are cells, they're actually bone cells inside. So bone is actually living tissue, for your information. So I'd like you to look at your bones in a very different way, starting today. So what do we need to do to keep our bones healthy? Bone is basically made up of protein and minerals. And the protein specifically is collagen. Collagen is special because it is flexible, you know. Teeth are actually part of your skeleton, your bone, or your skeleton structure. But the difference between the teeth and the bones is that the teeth don't have collagen, so they're not flexible. So bone is basically made up of protein, which is collagen, and minerals. And the minerals, there are several minerals like calcium, phosphorus, sodium, and that's the whole makeup of the bone. So for you to know what bone is made up of helps you know what you need to put into your body to support the bones, right? So what do you need for healthy bones? They're just two basic things that we need to know about keeping our bones healthy. First is nutrition, and the second is the lifestyle habits. Like any other form of health, if you're thinking about how to keep a healthy body weight, how to keep healthy eyes, how to keep anything in its health state, there are basically two. The nutrition, what we put into our body, and what else we do for our bodies to keep them healthy. So it's nutrition and lifestyle habits. First of all, protein. Like I said, bone is made up of protein. So your diet should be made up of good protein that is going to support your bones. Because remember, like I said, your bones are more like a bank. You deposit and you withdraw, because bone renews itself. There's a fact that says that we get a new skeleton every 10 years because every day we are shedding off the old bone cells and we are replacing them with new bone cells. So you need to be able to support that process throughout your life. The same way we have skin cells that grow old, and they have to be removed so that we allow the newer cells which are under there to come out so that we have a fresher looking skin. That's the same thing with the bones. Protein should be the biggest part of a diet of a growing child. And a growing child, adolescent, young adults, a bigger portion should be protein because proteins are bodybuilding foods and their bodies are still being built. It is very common for us to quickly think about milk when we are talking about protein for young children, but it's not just dairy that has the proteins that we need. Even plants, even plants have the protein, the amino acids in the proteins that we need. So you don't only have to think about milk, but all sorts of proteins. So when you look at the food pyramid that we grew up learning, where we had a bigger part is carbohydrates and then proteins and then dairy and then sugars, some of those norms have changed. Some of the things that we learned then have changed, because when you think deeply about how the body functions, then you get to appreciate that some of those things that we learned were not actually very accurate. We grew up learning that a bigger portion of your plate should be carbohydrates. And in the African culture, at least in Uganda, if I can say, but I believe this happens in many African cultures, a bigger part of your plate is going to be carbohydrates. The posho, the ugali, the matoke, the cassava, the sweet potatoes is the bigger part. And then there's a smaller part, which is the protein, which is the meat, the beans, the groundnuts, and then an even smaller part, which is the vegetables. We got that in reverse. The bigger portion should actually be protein, especially for those who are under 30 and those who are above 65, because those are the ages where the body requires support to replenish the muscles, to replenish the bones, to replenish the tissues. So a bigger portion should be protein. And even when you serve your children their food, they have to eat their protein first before they eat the carbohydrates, because that's the bigger part that they actually need. So I can see some people going back to revise their menus at home. More chicken, less ugali, and many more portions of fruits and vegetables. Okay, I've taken a long time on the protein. Let's move on. Second is fruits and vegetables. Why are fruits and vegetables important for bones? Because remember that it's not just one thing that the bone needs, and say it's proteins and it's calcium, but you find that the minerals that make up the bones need to be absorbed from the intestines when we eat them. And then you find that these minerals are helped by vitamins, and the vitamins come from fruits and vegetables. So that's why fruits and vegetables have to be part of your nutrition. When we talk about fruits, we talk about fruits in their natural form. There's a difference between fruits and fruit juice. It is always better to give a person the actual fruit, because they are going to eat the fruit with the fiber and gain more than what they would with the juice, because with juice, you're going to squeeze the juice out and throw away all the fiber. And you find that fruit juice has much more sugar than the fruit itself. For example, if you're going to eat a mango, you'll probably eat one or two and you'll be full. But when you're going to have a glass of mango juice, you probably need 5 mangoes. That's a lot more sugar that you're consuming compared to eating the fruit as it is. So it's encouraged that if you can reduce the amount of fruit juice you're giving, especially for young children, because it messes up their teeth, or dilute it to the extent that it is not concentrated sugar instead, right? When we look at vegetables, the darker green vegetables are the best. And of course, when you're looking for variety, you're going to look at the whole spectrum of colors. You have the peppers, which are green, yellow, red, throughout the whole spectrum, but we specifically here look at the darker green vegetables are very rich in the vitamins that are going to support your bones. The third group is calcium-rich foods. Now, I said here calcium-rich foods versus supplements, because someone might ask, if I just take the supplements and I don't really focus so much on the foods. There have been several studies that have looked at the advantages and disadvantages of focusing on calcium-rich foods versus supplements. Everything that we need is in the plants around us. Supplements are brought in so that they supplement on what we are supposed to get from food. But studies have shown that especially for calcium, if someone is taking calcium supplements, they can predispose that person to cardiovascular illnesses, diseases of the cardiovascular system, because they get to deposit lots of calcium in the blood, and they might pose a danger to the person if you compared them to actually focusing on the calcium-rich foods. Now, like I said, when we talk about calcium, our minds quickly run to milk, but there are many other foods that we have that are rich in calcium. We have different sorts of seeds, like the sesame seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, dairy. Of course, there's milk, cheese, yogurt. We also have fish. Fish is not part of dairy, but it's there. Yes, we have different types of fish, like the salmon. We have beans and lentils. We have nuts like almonds. And so there's a different variety of foods that are rich in calcium. That remember that our bones are made of calcium. And then the calcium has to be supported with the vitamins so that it's absorbed. Now here I want to emphasize on vitamin D and K, because vitamin D is what supports the absorption and the take-up of the calcium in the bone cells. We have a big problem in the world right now, not right now, but it's coming to light that many people are deficient of vitamin D. About 1 billion people are deficient in vitamin D, and you find that 80% of those people are actually Black African melanin skin people, if I can call them, because there's a myth that the Black Africans absorb the light, the sunlight, and they don't need that vitamin, but that is just a myth. Find that our melanin actually reduces on the rays that we absorb. So we find that we are more deficient than the other lighter skinned humans. So we need to supplement our vitamin K. Now, I rather vitamin D. At first, I wasn't very convinced about this until I did my own blood check. My own and my spouse and one of my son, we had a routine check about 6 years ago. And we found that we were actually deficient in vitamin K, in vitamin D. And living in Uganda full time, meaning that I'm in the tropical country, we have the sun all year round. And I was surprised that I was actually deficient in vitamin D. But yes, it's a fact that many of us are deficient in vitamin D and need to supplement. So I would encourage, if you have that opportunity, go check yourself. And if you find that you're deficient, you have to supplement. So my family now supplement daily. And the fact that now we are in Finland, we are up north where there's even less sunlight, fewer months of the sun, we even have to be very vigilant at it. Now, when you're supplementing with vitamin D, it has usually, in most cases, has to come with vitamin K, usually the K2, because K2 is going to help the absorption of vitamin D. So if you look at this, if you're buying a supplement for vitamin D, it's usually advisable to find the one that comes along with vitamin K2 as well, because it helps its absorption. All right. The other minerals that we have to think about when you're talking about our healthy bones is magnesium and zinc. Still, you can do your own research and find out what foods are rich in magnesium, but you most usually find that in fruits and vegetables. Zinc as well is very important in our bones, and I just put a note there. We find that in beef and pumpkin seeds. We have lots and lots of foods, especially in Africa, that have all these vitamins that are readily available. What the snag that comes in right now is the source of those vegetables and fruits, because you find that many of them, many places are now growing GMOs. And well, there are many schools of thought about the nutritional content in GMOs, genetically modified foods. So to be able to find organic sources is the best, and also finding sources that are not contaminated with pesticides, herbicides, and all those chemicals is also is also another snag that we have. So that is why you find that many people are drawn to supplement now, because of the sources that we have that are compromised. Either they are more GMOs or they are being contaminated. I read a paper, I think about two or 3 weeks ago in Uganda, about the ministry finding out that many of our fruits and vegetables are contaminated with chemicals. So unless you have your source at home, you have your garden at home, or you know where your fruits and vegetables are coming from, you may always have to think about supplementing. The other thing we need to think about is preparation of the vegetables. It always says that it's best to take the vegetable. Most vegetables are best taken raw, or as close to raw as possible. But as we know, when we prepare our vegetables, at least from my own experience, we overcook the vegetables, and all we are getting from them is fiber. All that we wash them, and then we boil them, and then we pour out the juices from them, and we are pouring out all the minerals and all the nutrients down the sink. Then we cook them again, and we kill all the minerals, all the vitamins. So you find that you believe you're actually serving yourself with vegetables, and yet you're not. You have thrown out all the nutrients by the time you get that food into your body. Preparation is key. So as close to raw as possible. Of course, you can't eat some of them raw, but at least lightly steamed is what is recommended. The last one I want to talk about is omega-3 fatty acids. And like I said, all these tie in to help the absorption of calcium, which is a big part of what your bones is made of. So omega-3 fatty acids are in specific types of fish. You can also find some supplements for omega-3 and also omega-6 fatty acids to supplement on your bone health. The second aspect that I would like to talk about is lifestyle habits. And why are these important? It's not just the nutrition, what you're going to put inside your body, but how are you going to influence that structure with everything else that we do? One is maintaining a healthy body weight. Our bone structure is made of joints, and these joints are what carry us around because they flex and they extend and they move us from one place to the other. So in order to have a structure that is going to carry you through to old age, you have to make sure that you are maintaining a healthy body weight so that you're not putting too much weight on your bone structure, on your joints, so that you're able to carry through to the end. I'm not going to go into details about that, but you should be able to know that comes in with nutrition, that comes in with not doing certain things like smoking and drinking or taking alcohol responsibly, because all those are going to affect your body weight. The second aspect is strength training. Now, your bones are supposed to help to carry your body through. But you find that in our lifestyle now, we are doing more sitting than running. What we used to do in the past, we used to run after our food. So you find that we were naturally exercising our bodies, exercising our bones. Now we are not running out after our food. We are actually doing more sitting. We sit in our cars, we drive through traffic, we sit in the office, we walk 2 meters to our lunch place, we walk back into the car, we sit through traffic, we get back home, we are sitting in front of the TV. So we're doing less exercising on our bone structure. So that is compromising on maintaining our bones. It's not just feeding them, but being able to work. Remember, it is alive. It's a live tissue that needs to be worked. It needs to be exercised. So simple things like your 30 minutes of walking around your home, your 30 minutes of jogging, your 30 minutes of standing in front of a YouTube video and exercising with whoever is in the video. Just simple things like 30 minutes daily, thrice a week would be the minimum I would recommend. Okay. And then strength training is putting some kind of controlled strain on your body, like lifting weights. Some people are very, very choosy about lifting weights. I was thinking that I will get this, I'll be so muscular, and I don't want to be so muscular. No, it is not that. It is putting a controlled amount of weight on your bone structure so that it stimulates it to be able to renew itself, right? Go on and do your own research about strength training, doing some kind of straining, just controlled straining for your body, for your bones, lifting weights and pushing weights with your legs, or using your own body as its weight. So there are different kinds of strength training that you can do as part of your lifestyle. So in a nutshell, that is what I would like to, that's what I wanted to highlight as part of how to maintain our bone health, nutrition, and lifestyle. They are very simple things to do, but they are also very simple things not to do. It is only later when you get to have to withdraw that you realize that if you did not deposit, there's nothing for you to withdraw. Why am I talking about depositing and withdrawing? When you do the right things early in life, you're going to deposit enough nutrients, enough protein into your bone, and you're going to get the correct bone mass that is required to carry you through old age. Usually we achieve the optimal bone mass at age 30. So I would like you to think about having a thin bone because you did not deposit enough, and having a thick bone just because you deposited enough. Just literally think of it like that. So when we do the right things right now, early in life, you're going to have the right bone mass that you need later in life. Because when we get to menopausal age, when the men are also getting older, you find that the bone is wearing away more than it is replenishing. Naturally, we replenish and we wear off. It is new cells and old cells, new cells and old cells. But as we get older, you find that the replenishing is slower than the wearing off. So that's why you find that some people end up getting osteoporosis, meaning that their bones are brittle and they're more prone to getting fractures because their bone mass was not optimized. So they have more brittle bones than they should have, if I can say. So in order to prevent that, let's do the right things right now. They are easier done now because then you're depositing for later in life. So with that, I would like to open up a discussion with you. If you have any other questions, back to you, Nkoye.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cathy. This is really amazing. This is so much wealth of knowledge you've just given us about our bones. In fact, the first thing I picked from your discussion today is letting us know that for you to have a healthy bone, you have to start from when you are born, because you start depositing into those bones from beginning. So the mother who is breastfeeding needs to eat healthily so that the milk the child gets is the right milk for the bones. And as the child goes off breast milk, he has to eat right all the way till when you're old. So this is really amazing. So you can't just wake up one morning and say, I want to take care of my bones. It's something you start from the beginning of your life. This is so amazing. Thank you so much, Dr. Cathy. Now, everyone, please, could you put in your questions? I already have seen 2 questions on the chat. Write in your questions. It's ready to take all your questions right now. And whatever information you want to find out about your bone wealth, please put it out there so that she can also take those questions, and then we would learn a lot from it. So I'm going to start with my own questions first. You know, many years back, you said something that struck me. You said that the bone is something that just keeps developing, it grows, and it keeps evolving, or will I say improving. And many years back, let me say about 4 years ago, when I was rushing to the site, I jumped over a mound, and unfortunately I broke one of the bones on my foot. Now, I wore a cast. What was so amazing for me was that I was not given any medication except to stay still, and then I was giving calcium and vitamin D, like you have just said to us right now, vitamin D and calcium. Now I want to ask a question. Why is it that my bone it was a very small jump. Why is it that my bone easily broke? Because I've done so many other jumps, much more than what I actually did that period. So what could have caused it? By the way, I'm almost 50. So when I say 4 years ago, I was in my late 40s. So what could have caused the reason why my bone broke so easily? Unlike other many years I've been on site without having such issues. I keep jumping mounts, jumping ladders, and I never had a broken leg.
Okay, I must say that you're really aging with grace.
Thank you.
Well done on that. Well, as we get older, especially as the females, about 4 to 6 years after menopause, you find that that is when the bone mass actually begins to reduce, because now the estrogen is depleted, it's reduced in our bodies, and the estrogen is what is supporting our intestines absorb the calcium. So you may find that maybe your bone was a little bit more brittle because you had less of a bone mass in that area. And so as we get older, we have to be more careful with our jumps, with all the activity that we put on our bone structure, because now our bone mass is reduced, and it takes us even longer to heal, because it takes about between 6 weeks and 12 weeks for a bone to heal. Actually, bone heals itself, you know. Yes, it heals itself. It has the capacity to form new cells. So it heals itself. So when you support it in the healing process, it will heal itself. Of course, it will take longer if you're older, and for the younger ones, it takes a bit shorter than usual to heal.
Okay. So at that time when that happened, people kept talking about, oh, pregnant women, their babies feed on their bones, and that's why your bone was so brittle. So is that a will I say something, a myth, or is it a real thing that when you're pregnant, there's a possibility that your bone is also fed on? And so based on it, after pregnancy you need to take a lot of supplements or those nutrition that will help to build your bone back. Is it a myth or is it actually through statement?
Let me get that right. You say that during pregnancy, your bones are more
People
brittle?
always say that during pregnancy that your baby feeds on your bones, and that's why women suffer osteoporosis more than men. And so it's very important that they do a lot of nutrition, a lot of things to help improve their bone mass after pregnancy. Is that a myth or is it true?
No, your baby does not feed on your bones.
Okay. That's good to know.
But the truth, I think, if I'm trying to think around why they say that, is this. Um, both men and women, both male and female, have the hormone estrogen. Of course, the women have a higher level of estrogen than the men do. Then you find that the estrogen hormone um, helps in the absorption, in the intestinal absorption, when the calcium and the minerals and the vitamins that are necessary for your bones are being absorbed from your intestines. Estrogen aids their absorption. So when you still have that estrogen, the uptake is quite quick. I mean, it's optimized. It's functioning well. But when you get to menopausal age, usually between 4 and 6 years post-menopause, that's when it really dips. Then the absorption is reduced. Okay. And then you find that that's why the women are more prone to osteoporosis than the men. Although when you look at the 65-year-old man and 65-year-old woman, the reduction is more or less the same, because now they have evened out more in the estrogen levels. Yes.
Wow.
But as you know, a pregnant lady is feeding for two, feeding for herself and also feeding for her baby. Of course, she has to make sure that she's eating very well so that the baby gets all the nutrients that they need in that developmental stage.
Okay, that's really, really
Okay.
interesting. It's really interesting. Thank you so much. So that means that being pregnant means feed, not, well, I won't say feed two big portions for yourself and the baby, but feed in such a way that the nutrition will take care of you and the baby as well. That's nice. That's good to know. Someone had asked a
Yeah.
question. You talked about
Yeah.
different nutritions and you gave examples of the meals you could eat. And the person asked the question that those examples you had given, like meat and all that, that have fat content, are they detrimental to our health, or do we absorb them as we also absorb the different things you had mentioned from the calcium?
Say that again. I broke off at some point. What did you say about the fat content?
Okay, that there are some meals you had mentioned we could take to give us some calcium. Those meals like meat, even the dairy products like yogurt also have some fat content. Are they detrimental or
Mm,
beneficial to us if we have to take consume all that in the process of getting calcium and vitamin D and K?
okay. Um, Everything. Like I remember one of my nutritionists used to say that there is nothing that you can say is bad or completely bad. Everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. That's why you find that there are specific diets that can give you benefits, and then they are detrimental because they deplete you of certain things. If you look at red meat, for example, um, what red meat is right now is different from the red meat that our grandparents had, you know,
Yes.
in those days, because
Yeah.
our grandparents had grass bred cows and goats and whatever cattle that they had. But now the red meat that we have right now is going through so much that its content is different from the red meat that we know from back then. All right.
Yeah.
I will not say, I will not make a blank statement and say that all that fat is bad, all that fat is good. It is all good if it is in moderation, but also most importantly for the source. Let me give you an example of milk from cows. I believe most of us have grown up with cow milk as being one of the supplements that our mothers gave us when we were weaned
Yeah.
of the breast. And it's something that mothers quickly go to supplement, or to replace when they are weaning their children. My children, specifically talking about my youngest son, has had an itchy skin for a long time, and I've been trying to find out what the issue is that's giving him an itchy skin all the time. And one time I decided to do an experiment and take out cow milk from his diet, just the cow milk. And within a week, the itching reduced. And what I found out is it's not the cow milk per se, but it is what is in the cow milk right now. You find that the milk we have right now has lots of hormones because the cows are injected with hormones so that they can produce the milk. So they're injected with estrogens, even the antibiotics that they are given. So you find that the cow milk now has lots of antibiotics and lots of hormones. And this is what is giving most of our children the eczema that they have. Okay, so when I took out the cow milk from his diet, I saw that all these skin reactions and eczema reduced because I had taken away something that was irritating his body.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I talk about the source right now is very important. So I replaced his diet with plant-based milk instead, because then I found it to be cleaner than the cow's milk. So you find that even the source is something you really need to think
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. We have one more question. before I take, there's a question I would like to take because I have evidence of that particular question. But we have one more question for you. It says, what do you recommend to a 40-year-old who is having knee issues? Though the 40-year-old is still very young at heart, obviously.
Yeah.
Yes.
Knee issues. The first thing I need to think about is the weight, because remember, your knees are the biggest joints that you have in your body, and they're what are carrying the biggest part of your body. So you find that if you have knee issues, first find out, does this person have a good, healthy weight, or are they overweight? And then if then they are overweight, then that is where that issue is. They are carrying more than the bones are carrying more than they can handle. All right. And then, of course, then we get into all those other supplements of what is their diet like? Do they have enough protein? Do they have enough calcium? Do they have enough vitamin D? Those are just the quick ones I can quickly think about. Of course, I cannot diagnose
Yes.
something over, but just to quickly think about something, some pointers for you to check off when you want to look for what the issue is.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Kati. You've been an amazing guest today. You've given us so much information on bone wealth. Told us not bones are not just for supportive but also protective. That is something that a lot of us always just say, oh, bones are to support our mass, but it also protects our organs. So it's very, very important that we actually take care of our bones. It's very important that we feed our bones rightly. Like Dr. Kati said today, she said, start feeding your bone from when you are born, and then when you're 30 and above, you'll smile really, really happily. So everybody, please say a beautiful thank you to Dr. Kati. She's done an amazing work today. But there's a particular question that was popped up today, and they said, where are you going to get wonderful vitamin D and K? For you to be able to absorb calcium into your bone system or your system generally, you need vitamin D. I know of that because of my situation when I broke my leg. And I will tell you from personal experience, I've had a wonderful nutrition and supplement that I have used that has transformed my life. And it's from this family called The Secret. Now we have various supplements which, like Dr. Kati said earlier on, she said something that was really amazing. She said, when you remove the source, for example, if the source is wrong, that's when there's a problem. She didn't say dairy was wrong, but the present dairy that we have today had some other things that were not so right for the itchy skin. Unlike the dairy and the cow meat of the olden times when they ate natural things. So today for me, what was amazing for me was using the right source of supplement that transformed my life. So I was able to use, the first one that helped me so much was the Immunix. This is really amazing. This is the Immunix that has all the natural organic herbs. It has star of anise. It has, she talked about chia seeds. It has chia seeds. It also has different leaves inside. It's really amazing. I only take 3 capsules of this and it transformed my life because it has the calcium and the magnesium. Then we also have these 2 molecular hydrogen products that are the recovery and the HydroFX. And guess what? These particular 2 are magnesium and calcium based. So when I was taking this, it just transformed my bone structure. All those pains and different stress I was having, especially when I do exercises with my muscles, my bones, my joints, disappeared completely because I fed them with the right sauce. Everything I'm talking about here from Secret is something that is actually made from organic, natural sauce. The one and the most beautiful one is the greens. Dr. Kati had told us earlier on that it is very key for us to eat vegetables at the right temperature. Most importantly, if eaten raw is the best. But this is the only purest green I have ever taken at the right temperature. Even my brother-in-law, who is a medical doctor, surgeon, and a gynecologist, confirmed that to me. So for me, Secret became my home of supplements to ensure that my bone wealth is completely healthy and I'm able to feed myself. I'm going to be turning 50 very soon. So it's important I make sure that my bone does not thin out and get broken bones like I did before 4 years ago. So thank you very much, everyone. Please send so much love to Dr. Cathy. She's done an amazing work today. She's transformed our knowledge, taking us back to science. A lot of you didn't know how many bones we had. I also failed the question. I said 202 instead of 206. So she took us back to our science all the way back, reminded us of what we need to do.
You're muted in.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
So give her a warm thank you, please, everybody. A warm shout out, a warm everything you can do to say a big thank you for this wonderful Wow Wednesday that has wowed me and shown me how to live life, supporting and protecting myself with the right supplements and the right sauce for my bones. Thank you, Dr. Cathy, and see you all.
Can I have just a minute? I want to
yes, please go ahead.
One of these. Now I'd like you to see this.
Yes.
This.
I have mine, I want to be held. So I have mine too.
This is a protein shake. And as I said that our bones are made of protein, this is a protein shake. And what I love about this is that it has all the essential amino acids. It is very difficult to find a product that has all the essential meaning that your body can't make them. You have to find them from somewhere. So instead of finding this one has 3 of them, this one has 10 of those, 2 of them, and then you mix up everything, this one has all of them. So if you have your child and you have your elderly person, you have you yourself to support your protein intake, this is complete. It has the complete protein profile. And like you say, the greens, these greens are not heated above 108 degrees, meaning that their nutritional content is preserved. They're as close to raw as possible, and they have both the grasses, the blends, the grasses, and also the greens blend. If you look at the content in here, you'd only be able to get this if you had a wheelbarrow of vegetables every day. But this is just in a scoop. Just a scoop gives you a complete range of the vegetables that you need. So you showed us the cups.
Yes.
But there's also a powder that comes with it. So I just wanted to be able to point that out as well. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And do you have the vitamin D?
No, unfortunately, I don't have the vitamin D with me right now. I've just ordered one because I want to ensure that all this calcium I'm taking is being absorbed well. So I've ordered it, and I'm definitely going to have my vitamin D with me. And remember, everything.
Please show them. Can you show us a picture of that vitamin D? We have a vitamin D that is plant-based. What I like about this is that it is plant-based. It is not it's not a synthetic source. It is plant-based. So you see this one has the vitamin D. Do you see my screen? So it has the vitamin D3 and the K2. So this comes in complete because then the K is going to help to help the vitamin D the absorption of the vitamin D in your intestinal tract. Okay, you see that? Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes,
This
that's what I
is
wanted to point out.
yes.
Yes. All right.
So
That's
everyone,
it for me.
you are
Thank you.
all armed. You are armed with what to make you healthy. So go home, reflect on all she's taught us today, and keep healthy with the right sauce, as she has told us. When you have the right sauce, then you definitely will have the right look and right health. Thank you so much once again, Dr. Kati, and everyone
You're
have a
welcome.
beautiful
Thank you.
evening or beautiful day wherever you are.
Thank you. Thank you
So
very much. Have a
see
good
you all
evening.
next week.